Carmine with Bedhead Fitness coming to you with your daily Smart Circuit. In our Smart Circuit today, we, as always, will hit the full body. We're going to elevate the heart rate, get some cardio in an interval style of workout. And the muscle groups that are primarily going to get the strongest emphasis are going to be the chest and triceps, a super strong core focus, and along with that, a lower body focus. A lot of these things will happen in a dynamic fashion. The dynamic fashion will tend to help with stability, posture, and balance as well. When I am emphasizing posture with any movement, it becomes crucial. And in fact, when I am making, you notice I'm making an emphasis on any position, it's probably crucial to the best effect of the workout. A long time ago, a mentor of mine said, you can work out hard, or you can work out smart, you could work out, or you could do both. We want to be doing both. So when I give you form cues, if you're taking advantage of those cues, you'll be getting the best effect out of it. It might take you to exhaustion faster, but within training, exhaustion, muscular fatigue, these are all our tools of hypertrophy, which cause the adaptive response within the body and help you change and move towards your goal. And that means whether your goal is just better health, better fitness, weighing less, finding those abs that used to be there, whichever it is. So the first exercise I'm going to do will be a small muscle group. It's going to be a tricep push-up. I'm going to show it to you from two angles. Within the tricep push-up, I want you to be aware of this important form tip, as I just spoke of, is we will have a narrow hand position and we want our arms traveling close to the body. As long as your shoulder allows that. If you find a lot of discomfort in the narrow position, you may have to open your elbows out. We're going to do a variation in which we elevate ourselves so our upper body is angled up, which takes away resistance, and we're going to do a version where it's you're in a decline position, adding more resistance to the tricep. So that's at my fitness level, even at 48 years of age, I go towards the more difficult variation. From that, we're going to move into a dynamic plank position. From that plank position, what we're going to do is cross one foot over the other in a plank. So you're supported in 3 points, your two hands and the 1 foot. And we're going to hop in and out from that plank position. It might remind you of a mountain climber motion, or a modified version of a mountain climber if you have seen that motion before. Much more challenging, much more core oriented. The third exercise, I'm going to give you two variations there as well. If you are going to choose the easier variation, which will just be a floor leg lift, you may have, within your experience with leg lifts, or maybe you've taken a class before, you may have found a point where you can support yourself at your lower back or your hip. That's completely acceptable to start with. Eventually, you'd like to not have to do that. The other thing is, with leg lifts, when we're using our legs, which are, really large, heavy muscle groups comparatively, 2/3 of our muscle mass falls below our belly button. It's also highly reliant and recruits more from the lower back than certain other ab exercises. To deflect that and to sort of disperse the resistance in a way that makes the motion more tolerable, you can bend your legs and shorten your range of motion until you find a motion that's a little more comfortable. And you'll see me sort of work through those as I demonstrate the easier version. The other thing that you'll notice is that your hip flexor, the very top of your thighs, as they insert into the waist, you're going to feel a big demand there, and that's normal. However, those are some of the most important muscle groups in the body, although they're smaller muscle groups. They're only about the size of your thumb, but they have an immense function within the body. So let's get started with the close grip push-up. I'm going to use a chair, and I'm using my office. I'm in a little office den. That's where I do these workouts in order to keep them private and quiet early in the morning. I'm going to use a simple chair as my first tool, and it's the only tool I'm going to need other than my body weight. So I'm going to set the chair up initially to take away resistance, and if it wasn't a chair, it could be a couch as a higher angle to make it a little more easy, or even a counter or a wall to make the angle even higher. I won't need to do that today, and for most of you, if you've been doing this for a little while, you won't need to take away that much resistance. So as I set my chair up here, I take a narrow position with my hands. I'm angled up. I'm sorry, I'm cropping part of my head off. If you take a look, my elbows are very close to my body. So within this position, I'm holding a straight plank. My body's long, straight. I have a straight position from my shoulders to hips to ankles. And I'm keeping the path of my arms very close to my body. For my version, I'm going to add more resistance by putting myself into a decline position. So I'm going to put my feet on top of the chair, take that same narrow position, keep the arms close to the body, and push up from there. So if you are accustomed to knocking out push-ups easily, I mean, I've done in these segments as many as 100 before. 75 I can typically do easily. I did 35 there with great difficulty. The reason is that in declining, I was putting more resistance into my actual tricep, and I was also keeping my arms close to my body, isolating the tricep more so than allowing my elbows to come out, using chest, shoulders, and recruiting larger muscle groups. So it's important, if you're trying to make your tricep your emphasis, it doesn't mean those other muscle groups won't be used. You're just emphasizing the muscle group you want to use. In my next exercise, I'm going to work from that 3-point plank. So I'm going to show you it from two different angles. In this angle here, I really just want you to see that I'm crossing my foot over the other foot. So in the first set, what I'm going to do is a push-up. I'm going to hop in and out, and then do another push-up. In the second set, I'll cross the other foot over. I'm going to do a push-up, hop in, hop out, and then I'm going to repeat it 10 times on each side. The push-up is not absolutely necessary if you're so fatigued from the triceps. You may want to skip that portion. You're certainly going to be using enough muscle groups and enough dynamic core use that it's going to be effective exercise either way. In the world of fitness, there's no way around this. More is more. So when I can add effectively and in an intelligent way add more exercise, I always am going to. You're just going to get more bang for your buck. So here's what it looks like for me. I'm in my high plank, one foot is crossed over. I push up, I hop in and out, I push up. Now I could feel the effect on my core from the hopping plank, and of course I could feel my chest as well. We want that motion to be more core, more full body. So if you feel like you're fatiguing because of the push-up, it's probably a good indication that it's not quite time for that yet. And I would keep the straight arm position and not add the push-up to the motion. I'm going to cross over the other foot, change my angle gently. Push up, in, out, push up. So that's it for 10 and 10 with that. If you're not noticing, I'm slightly breathless even from that. And the quicker the pace, the closer I can keep the exercise tied together, the higher the heart rate will be throughout. So as we come into the leg lift, I'm going to do a floor version first. I want you to use that advice that I told you about, and that you're going to modify how much you recruit the lower back with the use of bending your leg slightly and perhaps supporting at the hip or lower back to make the leg lift a little more comfortable for you. Now, after I demonstrate that, that would be your motion that's more directed towards a person who has been involved in fitness a little more recently, and they're a little more deconditioned, or perhaps they have a body imbalance that makes leg lifts very difficult for them. I'm going to move into a hanging position myself. So in the hanging position, without using any straps or anything to hold my hands on the bar, although I will feel my abs highly active, primarily your grip is going to be the first thing that fails on you. We're only as strong as the weakest muscle group involved. And in this case, when you're hanging on a bar, no matter which grip you use, your forearms and your fingers, your grip is going to fail before your abs are going to fail. And of course, what's going along for the ride, just like a chin-up, whenever we're holding onto a bar in an upright position, our lats are involved as well. When I'm keeping myself from swinging back and forth, I'm stabilizing with my abs and my back extensors. So whenever we're using any muscle group, there is always an opposing muscle group that's stabilizing. And it's something that's good to remember. And that's why we cannot choose to train one side of our body without the other. Eventually it'll come back to bite you. So in my leg lift position here, as I lay back, right now I don't have my hands under my hips, I just have them slightly away from my body. I'm going to take my legs all the way up, and with a light bend I'm going to lower until I feel a lot of ab tension. Maybe some lower back tension, but a lot of ab tension. And from there, I'm going to move through the part of the motion that feels most challenging. If my back becomes too uncomfortable, or my hip flexors start to fail, I'm going to bend my legs a little bit more. And that would be your modification there. So remember, as a rule of thumb, I don't start my leg lifts with my feet on the floor. I pull them into my body, I take them up, and then I lower my legs until I feel my abs engage and that my back is being recruited appropriately and not overtaxed. Having said that, you would do that variation as many reps until you felt a good amount of fatigue. Maybe some burn to your abs, maybe some stress to the lower back, but you would feel some sort of muscular fatigue, so you'd run out of reps at a certain point. I'm going to use a slight bend in a hanging position. It requires a lot of stabilization in order to not swing while you're holding the position. And of course my reps will be mitigated by the difficulty of holding the position. So I'll be doing that on the chin-up bar, which you see me use pretty frequently. So 24 there. If I were not controlling my descent when my legs came back, I would have started to swing back and forth, which would have made the workout much less effective and that exercise less ab oriented. What you get out of that is a lot of muscle groups are involved. And again, that's why my heart rate is elevated. So those are your 3 exercises for the day. You know what your focus is. Set each set and choose each exercise that's appropriate for you. You feel comfortable with the form. You feel safe with the form. And you feel like your body's able to accomplish the motion. There is no shame in choosing the modification that's a little easier. Your body will adapt and you will get to the tougher variations. Once you've gone through the circuit one time, repeat it several times. As many as 5 or 6 times. But at least enough times that you're occupying about 20 minutes. That means that you've been at an elevated heart rate for over 15 minutes. And then that meets the standards by which with all of the science gives you greatest statistical chance of lowering your body fat and managing your body weight. So that's your goal here. So repeat the circuit, each of the 3 exercises in your rep count and in your modifications, and make the workout hopefully last at least 20 minutes. But as your fitness level improves, if time allows, bring it up to 45 minutes. That would be ideal. So Carmine here from Bedhead Fitness, thanking you for joining me again this morning. Please hit the subscribe button. Please take advantage of these workouts and share them with those who might need them, who need fitness in their life. It is good for the mind, body, and spirit. Please hit the like button. It's tremendously helpful to me and the channel. And it's use the comment section. We want this to be a community. We want people to have discussions. And even if it doesn't have to do with this specific workout, maybe it's a question, or maybe you've been instructed to do something differently than I suggested, I'll discuss it with you and I'll give you a reason for why I approach things the way I approach them. And it all ends up to be good, helpful information in terms of helping people progress towards their fitness goals. So thanks again from Bedhead Fitness. Have a fantastic fitness day. Carmine here signing out.